Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the RegTech Association's RegTech Edge No Borders event on data, cyber and information security. My name is Deborah Young and I'm the CEO of the association. I'd like to start today by offering an acknowledgement of country and paying my respects to the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting today, and offer a warm welcome to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander friends with us here, as well as to all of you. Thank you for being here, and especially to our members and special guests. Today, we registered 173 people from 23 countries for this program, and I did a rough calculation before coming online. There are about 30% of those that are potential buyers of RegTech. So for those of you that are RegTechs, rest assured we have some buyers online and many more people who will pick up the recording after the session today. According to our latest research that we partnered with Deloitte on, finance, insurance and super are the three biggest adopters of RegTech, which is probably no surprise to many people. But we are also seeing significant growth in new areas such as healthcare, government and telco. And I'd urge you all to download and read our Industry Perspectives report if you haven't already done that. And I think Nathan will put a copy of that up on the chat for you. We're learning from institutions that they are saying that customer demand is still the strongest driver for RegTech adoption. And that's also probably not surprising given the focus on cyber attacks, privacy, data, and the rise of fraud and scams. With technology adoption, particularly in generative AI, now commonplace, we have an important role to play in bringing you the latest thinking and solutions that can support a safer system for everyone. This program is meant to do exactly that, demonstrate the opportunity and show the track record of some of these fantastic RegTechs that we have online today. To kick us off, we're delighted to have Daniella Kafouris, a partner from Deloitte, who's going to speak to us about how generative AI and automation can support transformation efforts across cyber risk and regulatory functions. But before I go and introduce Daniella, I just wanted to go over a few housekeeping items. Today, we are recording this event, and every registered delegate will receive the link and it will be lodged on our YouTube channel as normal. We ask you please to keep your cameras and mics off unless you are presenting. Thank you very much. We ask that any and all questions for the presenters today to be lodged in the chat. Please don't be shy. I'll curate those questions, and in the event that I'm unable to, I invite the speakers to go onto the chat directly and answer anything that they can. We would appreciate your input into our quality poll, as this really helps us with the quality of these events going forward. And to our presenters today, I would respectfully ask you to not go over your allocated time so that we can offer everybody an equal opportunity, because we only have an hour together. So without further ado, I'm now going to introduce Daniella. Daniella is a partner in the strategy, risk and transactions business at Deloitte. She has a focus on digital law and the modernisation of risk and compliance functions. She has 18 years experience in the consulting industry, a passion for people, a strong focus on values and a strategic mindset. Her experience has spanned across general management, strategy, design and execution, service delivery, transformation and business development. Daniella has led the transformation of the Risk Advisory Business Unit as an executive member in Deloitte Australia across AI, offshoring and asset creation. She comes with us today. She has a strong track record of growing new businesses and market offerings from a zero base and building these into sustainable businesses across people, processes and technology. It is my great pleasure to now open the floor up to Daniella. Thank you very much, Daniella.
Thank you so much, Deborah. I always feel like all of those are such a mouthful, and you could probably do with, hi, I'm Daniella from Deloitte and happy to spend some time with everyone. So as Deborah mentioned, one of the things that we've had a look at, just as everybody else has over the last 18 months to 2 years, is how we bring in more automation, how generative AI can impact our business processes and so on. And as we go on to some of the next slides, Nathan, if we can just pop on to the next one, I think one of the tasks that I was given when I held the role in what used to be our risk advisory business for about 18 months was really around how we transform our practices. And we each got one of these books. And I don't know if any of you have read this book, or many of you have probably had a reader through it. But just like many instances, we often scared off with, oh my gosh, AI, automation, are we going to be worried about unemployment and all those scary things that came along? But ultimately, what it really just triggered for us was, right, we know our professions are going to change. We know the way we do things has to change. And for myself, who has been in the risk, regulatory, as well as cyberspace for most of my career, we were going to have to do things quite differently going forward. And on the next slide, you'll see an image of a shoemaker there. And I always, and I don't know if you remember the older days of, the shoemaker's children never wear shoes. Well, we said, well, we can't be the shoemaker's children and not learn to wear shoes, especially with the advent of all the new AI technologies that were coming out and so on. But ultimately, we had a look at how we were actually going to practically bring this to light for our clients and within our own business. So on the next few slides, I'm actually going to take you through what that looked like for us as well. And so
Daniella,
yes.
Sorry, it's Deborah here. Would you mind just popping your camera on so we can see you as you speak? Sorry.
It is on my side. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. For some reason, it's not. It's okay. We can hear you very clearly. I just couldn't see you. That's all. I'm not sure what's happening.
That is so strange. It was on a second ago.
Sorry about that. No, keep going. Keep going.
Okay. All right.
We can hear you very clearly, and we can see the slides very well.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I see Peter says he can see me. So, all right.
Okay, great. It must be something to do with me. Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
That's all good. It would have been very normal for me to have a tech issue, so it's all good. So ultimately, on the next slide, I'll just take you through a little bit around some of our thinking. We had to think about what the starting point would actually be for us as a business, as a risk business. And we had a couple of different functions in our risk business, right? We had internal audit, we've had controls teams, we had cyber teams, and we had your traditional regulatory teams, which, when I had a look at everybody that is kind of dialing in on this call, you've got some of these challenges in your organizations. Maybe you're advising on some of these challenges to your clients, and maybe you have technologies that can support some of the challenges that we all face around this. But really, we had some pretty traditional businesses that we were looking at, and how do you get these individuals to think differently about how they're going to deliver their services, not only to our own clients, but also within our own business as well. So the next slide, if I can just jump to that one, Nathan. So the way we kind of thought about it was, if we could think of an actual digital worker, what would we actually ask them to do for us? A lot of the time, when we think about technologies, or when we're considering what technologies to bring into our organizations, or how we want to optimize a process, we kind of pick and choose some tech. And it's quite hard for a lot of the tech providers that are like bringing their products to us, because sometimes we don't actually fully think through what we want them to actually do for us. So we said, well, let's think about a digital worker. And if this digital worker had a name, what would they actually be doing for us, and how would we solve that problem? And on the next slide, I'll take you through a little bit of our thinking. So as an executive, we said, well, which are the areas in our business will we be able to derive the greatest optimization of processes, the greatest benefit? Is it areas where there's a lot of manual processes we're experiencing, where the teams maybe required a bit of a cultural uplift? Are the teams a bit bored about the way they're doing things? Is there very taxing work that they focused on around that? And, over and above that, if we can deliver better and make some of our processes less manual, our clients would obviously benefit from an improved service. And although we as a consulting firm will talk about clients, for a lot of you in industry, you would be talking about the stakeholders that you need to serve across your business. And we realized we actually also had some pretty archaic ways of doing things, and there were also some pretty interesting and technologically advanced ways of doing things. But when you look at cyber versus regulatory businesses versus controls businesses and internal audits, you can almost see that, possibly in the cyberspace, we had some newer technologies. When we looked at internal audit and regulatory businesses, we thought, okay, well, there's a bit of uplift we can do there. So we agreed with our exec where we were going to focus. We agreed the team and the skill sets that we needed to actually make this happen. So over and above bringing all the right technologies in, it's really important to understand the team that's going to help you make these technologies a success within your business. And then it was understanding the investment that would be required for us to get this done. And we really spent a day kind of mapping the art of the possible with some of these business areas. I'll take internal audits as an example, or assurance-based activities. I don't know about any of you, but sometimes, when we try and get our assurance colleagues over the line on things, they don't want to change their ways. They've often done things in a certain way. And you know what? It's always worked. And here we come along and say, hey, there's a bit of a different way we can try and do this. You've got to take people on a journey. There's a change journey you've got to take people on until they believe in what you're ready to present to them. And we had a great lab with them for a day, and we developed a plan. And on the next slide, I'll just take you through some of the benefits of what we did. So we created a couple of different digital workers for those teams that would help them optimize various processes. We selected processes that were really, really manual for them, or, would take them about 4 to 6 weeks to execute on an activity. We were able to reduce that to a 2-week time frame by bringing in automation, by bringing in some hybrid ideas around how you can bring technology in with people and combine everything to make a much more optimized process. The business said to us, I need you to reduce margin. We all know the wonderful financial pressures we've all been under over the last 18 months. And we need to deliver profitably. We want to improve the experience of our people. A great challenge was people were getting bored at doing the same things over and over. And they said, we want to optimize how we deliver this. Like, we've got to differentiate ourselves with our clients. So here's what we saw. We managed to optimize that process and reduce the effort to completion by about 66%. From a cost savings perspective, the audit and risk teams that would engage this team to get this job done could really save about, let's average around 20%, 21% of costs by actually utilizing this refreshed process. And so we're able to save costs for our clients and improve the margin for ourselves as well as we do that. And then the biggest one, which was interesting, was the cultural impact that these technologies actually bring. Because the moment you make it easier for your teams, think graduates and analysts that are coming and being onboarded, fresh eyes in an organization, how AI and all these different, whether it's chatbots or digital workers, can actually help them learn how to do their jobs as well. Ask all the silly questions you'd be terrified to ask senior people along the way. So we really saw these three as three critical areas: optimization, cost savings, and the cultural impact that it can make. So if we can jump to the next slide, please, Nathan. I'm very conscious of time before I get called out by Deborah as well. So ultimately, we saw that the creation and the kind of advent of bringing in some new technologies, what we needed to do as a business was really look at the entire process we wanted to optimize. And so I just want to implore you, as all of these wonderful companies share some of their technologies with you today, and as you look at the considerations across this, that end-to-end understanding of the actual process that you want to optimize and the different elements you want to improve in your organization, it's absolutely possible. but you need to be able to take the teams on the journey as well. And that was really one of the primary areas that we saw some incredible value as Deloitte as we embarked on this. And so now we continue to do this today along for a lot of our clients as well. And it's really helping where clients aren't able to, increase headcount or anything like that. So yeah, I will stop right there. Deborah is appearing on my screen, so I've got my cue. But thank you very much for allowing me to open up. And I'm really keen to see what the other teams have to offer. So thank you so much, Deborah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Daniella. So I am delighted now to start off the showcase part of the program and invite Mark Gilman, who has stayed up very late in New York, to be with us today. And I also wanted to give a bit of a shout out to Mark because he's one of our newly appointed global RegTech ambassadors for the RegTech Association. So he's going to be holding a little candle for us over there in New York and acting like a bit of a beacon for members and potential members in the United States. So thank you so much, Mark. I'm going to start the clock on you now. Thank you.
Thanks, Deb. Yeah, appreciate it. So I'm Mark Gilman, the General Counsel and VP of Compliance here at Theta Lake. Thanks to the RegTech Association for the opportunity to present. We'll dive in and make this quick since there's only a little bit of time. Nathan, if you can go to the next slide. So I just wanted to first kind of talk a little bit about the regulatory environment that we kind of see ourselves in and helping firms to solve kind of complex compliance and cybersecurity issues. So there's two kind of countervailing forces at work here. The first is an increasing regulatory obligation to supervise communications from platforms like Zoom and Teams and Slack and WebEx and email, straight through to productivity apps and the like. So that's evidenced by the ASC information sheet 283 that was just released, and some research that we've done on a survey. I think the countervailing force that we're seeing is the fact that firms are using more and more communications platforms. So again, from our survey that came out this year, 85% of firms are using more than one communication platform to engage in business. So there's this intersection of firms using more communications tools, as well as this increasing obligation to supervise those communications from the regulators. Next slide, please, Nathan. So who is Theta Lake and how do we kind of help with this problem? Some quick background here. We're a 7-year-old company, have over 150 customers in financial services globally, have cloud-based data centers across the globe, Australia, EU, Canada, UK, APAC to support our customers. I think what's unique about Theta Lake is that we have investment from all the leading collaboration platform providers. So Zoom, RingCentral, Cisco, Salesforce, folks from Microsoft have all invested in Theta Lake. That allows us to do a lot of cool stuff and get some interesting recognition out there. So we are providing the backbone for Zoom's Compliance Manager, Zoom Compliance Manager powered by Theta Lake, which was announced a little bit earlier this year. And we've also gotten some recognition from folks like Gartner, where we were named in their market guide for digital communications governance. So a lot of great recognition out there that helps us kind of do what we do and help firms. Next slide, please. So just a little bit about how we help firms on this journey from capturing communications to the supervisory obligations that they have from folks like ASC and others. We really start with the capture of communications, and what's unique about Theta Lake is our ability to capture data across the kind of spectrum of communication platforms, whether that's the complexities of chat and capturing emojis and reactions and GIFs and message edits and message deletes, straight through to video platforms, voice recording platforms, of course, email, as well as productivity applications and whiteboard applications like Miro and Mural. Capture is the baseline for everything that we do. So, we typically help firms with the early stages there and capturing data from one or two platforms. We then move into search, where we can search across all this dynamic data, the video, the audio, search through with firm-wide IDs and the like. But at the end, that kind of really culminates in this proactive compliance step, which where we kind of bring together, all the data that we're collecting, the ability to search, and then we layer on artificial intelligence and machine learning to help organizations look for cybersecurity and conduct risks inside of their communications. So execute on those expectations that ASIC has, that the SEC and FINRA in the US have to supervise communications. That can get really powerful by looking for things like malware links and collusion and coercion and off-channel communications, looking for evidence of folks talking on WhatsApp, et cetera, really bringing everything together and then layering on things like workflows and emojis and other capabilities to analyze that data and make that supervision process more effective and efficient across all of your global business units. Next slide, please. So since we're talking about cyber today, I wanted to also just kind of leave on the note of the things that we're doing around kind of cybersecurity innovations. So, we take cybersecurity really seriously. We're doing a ton of auditing around that, ISO 27001, SOC 2 Type 2, TrueSight, et cetera, allowing firms to do things like bring your own encryption keys, bring your own storage, and having these global cloud-based data centers to support data privacy and data residency requirements. So next slide. Thanks again for the opportunity to kind of whiz through what we do at Theta Lake, and happy to talk to folks more offline about it. And thanks again for the opportunity.
Thanks very much, Mark. Perfect. And thank you very much for staying up late. I should just remind everybody that the slides for this will also be shared with you tomorrow. So next up to the virtual podium, if I could invite Natalie from Livesign. Welcome, Natalie.
Thank you,
I'm going
Deborah.
to start your time. I'm going to start your timer now. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Deborah. Yes, I'm Natalie Skinner, the product manager at Livesign. We combine electronic signing with verification of identity, so you can be certain who is signing the document. Next, thanks, Nathan. We've been in the market for around 5 years. We service various industries across the banking, conveyancing, legal, and we've just started branching out into assisting real estate agents with their verification of identity needs. Thank you, Nathan. We have 2 products available. So product number 1, our showcase offering, is Livesign digital signing combined with verification of identity. So you can bind digital document signatures with VOI at the precise point of signing. Our second product is that you can do the VOI or the verification of identity as a standalone product. So you can minimise the risk of identity fraud with our industry-leading biometric VOI solution. Thanks, Nathan. So we help practitioners to know their signer. How the process works. So step 1, the client receives an invitation from Livesign where they digitally sign the document from wherever it's convenient for them. Step 2, they jump over to completing their verification of identity. So that's following an ID journey using the Livesign app, capturing their ID, whether it be a passport and or a license, and then snapping a selfie. And then step 3, the practitioner receives a report back, a signed document and ID report, which is automatically generated, verifying the identity. Thanks, Nathan. What you can see here is what we return to the practitioner. So Livesign is Australia's only solution that prevents fraud without sacrificing privacy. If you have a look at the extract from the VOI report on the right, you can see that it's an Australian passport, but you might notice that the PII, or the personally identifiable information, has actually been blurred. We've done that. We've built that as an extra security provision, and it avoids practitioners having to risk non-compliance with the Australian privacy principles by having to store PII themselves. The other thing I wanted to point out to you on this slide here is on the left is an example of one of our electronic signatures. And outlined in green, you'll see a unique transaction ID, and that is identical to the corresponding VOI report where it's outlined in green below. So that's how the verification identity and the electronic signature are linked. So what sets our verification of identity apart? Well, unlike other solutions, Livesign extracts ID data from the passport chip. That is the highest global standard of ID security. And the benefits of that are that it actually removes the risk of the passport having been tampered with. So I've got my passport here, say the photo had been substituted or the name or some of the other text on there had been tampered with. It actually doesn't matter because we're not looking at that. We are looking at the chip inside of the passport and extracting information from there. Why is that so good? Well, it provides us with the ability to validate the passport. And of course, we can validate Australian passports. But a huge benefit of ours and a point of difference of our product is we can actually validate foreign passports. So other VOI providers might be able to give you a facial biometric verification result against a Chinese passport, but they can't actually tell you whether that Chinese passport is valid or not. Other benefits of reading the passport chip is that it means that data extracted is 100% accurate, and that's just one of the measures we take that contributes to us having a very low rate of flagged results, and it is suitable for use with individuals located overseas. Other things that set Livesign apart, so we did look at gaps in other solutions available in the market, leveraged our unique combination of legal and technology expertise to give a level of security, flexibility and ease of use you won't find with other products. So we've got our data security, of course we've got our ISO certification, but then we've also got the option to do that blurring or redacting of the PII. The second point across the top line there, we've got the two processes in one, so the signing and the VOI all in one for enhanced security and convenience. You can future-proof your processes. We've got AML checks imminently going to be added to our products, given the changes in that space recently. We've got our 24/7 support, Australian-based team here, supported by AI over outside of business hours. And yeah, we have a terrific user-friendly interface. This is our leadership team, so that's our technology and legal experts listed there, and then the last slide is just my contact details. Like as Deborah said, these slides will be provided after the session. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Natalie. Well done. And please remember, if you'd like to chat to Natalie, pop any questions on the chat line. Thanks, Natalie. Okay, it's my pleasure to invite Emma from ASC Technology to the virtual podium, and I'll start your time now. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you very much. So I'm Emma Skagebjörg. I work as the Global VP of Microsoft at ASC Technologies. We are a global company where we have subsidiaries across 15 different countries. We have 50 years in business, or a little bit more even than 50 years in business, and we focus on compliance, recording and analytics. So if you switch to the next slide, please. So what compliance challenges do we solve? Well, we capture communications across all different channels to meet those different regulations that are out there, such as MiFID or Dodd-Frank. We do have an application which is native in the Teams user interface, and we're also integrated to various UC and CC platforms. So we enable consent to record, we have record on demand, and of course we support all the different privacy laws, like also right to be forgotten, but numerous different settings, numerous different regulations that we support in our solution. And then we are able to support compliance assurance with the search and replay. We provide rich metadata. Everything is of course encrypted and tamper-proof, stored in Azure. As a customer, you can use your own storage, so bring your own storage. We also support, of course, using the customer's own encryption keys, symmetric or asymmetric keys. As far as risk and quality management, we do offer the automated risk analysis using AI. So we can monitor 100% of all sessions for compliance, for fraud, for churn, and also find potential leads perhaps for upsell. We look into agent performance. We have an automated QM built in, and of course, this also allows you to boost customer experience. What we also do is to import third-party recordings into our analytics platform. So next one, please. So our platform is called Recording Insights, and we're going to have a look at the AI engine of that platform. So if you switch to the next. So what we do, we're able to analyze all content of the recordings, whether that is chat or video or voice, and we can scan for critical keywords, patterns, phrases. We offer templates for each industry that you can use for policy rules such as MiFID or other rules. And then we are also integrated to Azure OpenAI, which allows you to actually ask AI questions. So was the customer pressured to make this purchase, for example? And the AI will analyze the content and give you a result. We're also integrated into Copilot, so you can securely access communication insights through Copilot as well. And this will allow you to build also further workflows, of course, in the organization. So switch to the next one, please. This is just one example of our dashboard. So we have a customizable dashboard where you can build and illustrate results from audit reporting, from, for example, MiFID violations. And this is something that can be customized for each user in the system. Next one, please. So lastly, I wanted to urge you to take the opportunity to download our white paper, Boost Compliance with AI in Microsoft Teams. We also have a lot of articles in our blog. We also offer a free trial, so you can test the analytics of our solution, and as well as, of course, capturing calls and meetings across different platforms. So thank you so much for listening, and look forward to hearing from you afterwards.
Thank you very much, Emma. Rob, I can see you've put your hand up. Is that because you're ready to go?
My camera and microphone was disabled, but it's back.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So all good. Thank you so much, Emma. Really appreciate that. I'll come back a bit later and do a wrap. If you wanted to pop some of those links up into the chat, please feel free to do that so people might want to look at that straight away. Okay, so welcome, Rob, from Privy ID. I'm going to start your timer now. Thank you.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Now you can flick through onto the next slide and flick again. This is very much going to be a very high level introduction of who Privy are. So our kind of real core focus and North Star is about securing the digital and physical world, but very much of a consumer driven focus. If you click onto the next slide, and I'll talk a little bit about our golden circle. I'm a Simon Sinek fan, and so the golden circle appears in a lot of my slide decks. But skipping to the why part, which is the consumer or the citizen should be the ones who are in control of their own identity. And in Australia specifically, as well as a lot of the world, that's kind of gotten lost somewhat. So Privy is very much focused on how do we empower the consumer to have choice and control and own their own identity. If you flick onto the next slide, please, Nathan. So a very quick overview of who Privy are. We are a global digital trust organization, well invested in people like KKR, Singtel, Okta. We've got 55 million users of our digital identity solution, 400,000 customers, everyone from AXA and Allianz through to Pizza Hut and Nestle. And security is kind of very much kind of the name of our game. So we have all the ISO accreditations you can think of. You pop onto the next slide, please. And again, so the kind of market scenario that we found specifically in Australia is that the consumer, again, has been somewhat taken advantage of, it feels like, and we've given government and we've given big corporates the opportunity to kind of manage our identities, and they've done it badly. And if you flick onto the next slide, I'll talk a little bit around what's happened today in Australia, which is 60% of adult Australians have their personal data on the dark web. That was due to 3 kind of major hacks that we had over here. But we have systems that are out of date. We have the 100-point system that was created in 1988. That's 3 years prior to the internet. And we're forced, when we do those sorts of checks, to hand over a passport when we're trying to prove our age, or we hand over a bank statement when we're trying to get a lease on a flat, and we are forced to hand over pieces of information that we shouldn't have to, which feels unfair. And especially when a lot of these organizations are experiencing these data hacks and losing that information. So how do we come up with a solution which is better? And if you click onto the next slide, the solution. So first of all, very, very high level. Privy looks at this, the digital trust, as kind of 3 core pillars. So identity being one part, signature being another. And it's interesting, it's great to see Livesign on here, because the more people who are advocating for this, the better. But signature and identity seem to have separated in the last kind of 20 years or 10 years, especially since DocuSign. And your signature is your identity. It's certifying that you have seen and agreed to a document. So we very much see that as part of the kind of core trilogy of trust. And then document delivery and ensuring that that document hasn't been tampered with. And we believe if you can solve all 3 of these pieces, then we're going to create a world of better digital trust. If you click onto the next slide. So this is a very, very basic part. So when we've just launched in Australia, so we're kind of very much a kind of product 101 to begin with, and we'll start releasing the new iterations as we go. But at this moment in time, it's very much a basic identity flow, IDV, which goes through things like your looking at the ID, ensuring that it's genuine and valid, and we'll do government checks to ensure that is the case, and we'll do things like liveness and then match that face with the ID and so on, and allowing you to do that in a way that isn't going to put your organization at risk, right? We want to ideally delete the data and never hold it, and actually just pass on the audit trail. But if you need to hold the data for regulation's sake, then we can do that securely for you on your behalf. If you scroll onto the next page, if you flick on again one more, Nathan, thank you. This is a little bit of a roadmap of how we're going to be operating and releasing products. So today is what we call everything's as a service. So verify as a service. So we've got Privy Shore for organizations who what we call as offline. So if you think of real estate, they might not have a tech stack. So how do they verify? Privy API, building it into your stack. And as we go through the rest of the next 12 months, we're going to start releasing the rest of our product set. I think that might be the last. If we can skip over that one, that can be shared. Last one is just any interest, and you can reach out to us. We've got a podcast, Idiot Proof, which talks about digital identity, and then follow us on our LinkedIn page. That's it.
Well done. Thanks, Rob. We actually shot out an email today to the database with your podcast attached to it.
Thank you very much.
Good. No problem at all. Okay, so thank you, Rob. Now, on to Colm, who's coming to us from Dublin, and also wanted to take the opportunity to also let you know that Colm is also a brand new global ambassador for us. So we've got Mark in New York and we've got Colm in Dublin. So if you're around in those environments, please do give them a shout. So Colm, I'll start your time now.
Thank you, Deborah. Hello to everybody. My name is Colm Dowd. I'm head of RegTech for EngageHub. Next slide there, please, Nathan. So today I'm just going to talk to you about how EngageHub can help in the areas of data, cyber, and information security. Talk a bit about the company, some high-level industry challenges, and then some key building blocks that we can put in place. Next slide, please. So EngageHub is a journey automation and orchestration company. We have significant operations in Ireland, the UK, Brazil, Australia, and we reseller agreements with partners in other jurisdictions across the world. We have fantastic customers in financial services, telco, retail, and government. Next slide there, please. Yeah, so just as an example, like what is the high level challenge statement? Customer data is moving through organizations like never before, at kind of high in volume and in complexity. And this is an example of our own business. So last month we had 8.8 billion monthly customer interactions, and that on the top line, that was across all our work we do in channels. For example, email, SMS, and WhatsApp. And then at the end, then our intelligent interactions like our geolocation events, API calls, and live mapped customer journeys. So again, as I said, data is moving in and out of organizations at a high rate in a very complex way. So we need to have the relevant security protocols at every stage gate. Next slide, please. So where do we start? I suppose putting in some key building blocks at the start. So first of all, we need to make sure that we have all the relevant accreditations, so which we do, ISO, PCI compliance, if you're dealing in payments, cyber essentials, etc. And then also that making sure that you have authentication, permissions, audits are in place across all your processes. And this is a space that we have significant experience in for our own business, but also for our clients deployed globally. Next slide, please. These are some of our products that we deploy to protect customers and their data and organizations. So just going to touch on two on this slide. On some tactical solutions, we have SMS Authenticator, which is our anti-smishing product, which protects customers around the whole smishing pandemic that's going across the world, very topical in every jurisdiction. And then on the data and privacy side, we have consents management. So we have our own consents management solution, which is driven by GDPR in Europe, which is now very relevant across most jurisdictions in the globe. On the next slide, I'm just going to touch on how you can service and deploy kind of cutting edge technologies, but also have the correct security calls in place. So this is our fraud prevention journey that we deploy in financial institutions. We use intelligent call routing, we use conversational AI, but we also have multi-factor identification, agent activity audits, and data visualization to ensure that security protocols are in place, but we also deliver on customers' intent. So again, it's an example of using cutting edge technologies, but also having the relevant security protocols to protect the data. Next slide, please. What's also very topical at the moment is the whole area of data residency. We're seeing a kind of a re-emergence of on-prem in certain jurisdictions, but being able to offer multiple solutions for customers, no matter what the journey is and what the use case is really important. So we in the Engage Hub, we offer all solutions that whatever to meet the client or jurisdictional obligations. Next slide, please. This is our real-time interaction management platform, which sits as an orchestration layer in many organizations. So to comply with the likes of GDPR or new privacy laws in Australia or in other jurisdictions, you need to be able to have a rules engine. And this is our rules engine, for data deletion, minimization, rectification, and contact rules. And can all be managed through a platform. And this is becoming really, really pertinent at the moment across all jurisdictions. So we have an end-to-end real-time interaction platform that can be deployed. Next slide, please. So this is, again, very topical at the moment. So evidencing customer outcomes in real time. And this is being driven by the whole revision of consumer protection regulation across the world, consumer duty, COFI, examples. But able to see emerging customer risk and data risks allows you to be able to mitigate risks, and it also allows you to agile course correct. So this is our customer journey tracker solution and data visualization tool, which we've deployed across a large number of organizations to visualize product and service journeys. Next slide, please. So thank you very much for your time. And that's our white paper on how to keep contact center secure. Please do download it, but please reach out if you'd like to discuss any of the above. Thanks so much, Deborah. That's us.
Thanks very much, Colm. And I've got to applaud everyone. How awesome have you all been to do that right? You're very practiced at these showcase programs. So thank you very much for staying on time. If you have a question for Colm, please pop it in the chat. Okay, so now I'm going to hand over to Graham Chi from BCyber. Welcome to you, Graham.
Thanks.
I'm going to start your time. I'm going to start your time now.
Okay, thank you. My name's Graham Chia. I'm the Managing Director and Co-founder of BCyber. We're a governance, risk and compliance organisation. We look at the cybersecurity of many financial services firms and manage that overall. Next, please. I guess this is the real conversation out there, is how bad is it really out there, and are you scared enough? And this is through, we undertook about 700 assessments in the last 18 months, and organisations from 10 companies through to 35, 50, 60 companies, staff. One of the things that we're actually finding is that businesses aren't really ready for the cybersecurity argument. And when you look at it, they go, well, what should I be doing? Is it a tech problem? What do I need to substantiate it? Like probably the biggest sort of cybersecurity program out there at the moment is an Excel spreadsheet. And Excel wasn't really built to manage compliance and governance and such, but it is. One of the things that we're seeing is that the cyber arsenal of what people are using is not really broad enough. It's only actually taking in smaller amounts, and it is just mainly focused from a tech side. However, one of the big things we're finding is, and this is where BCyber comes in, is the substantiation. Are you getting what you paid for? If you're putting in software, do you know how many licenses are out there? Do you know how much, is it a replacement? Is it what sort of reporting is going through to management? And it's not just the reporting, what are the actions and steps? Next, please. Next slide. Now, this is the question is about, it's not just a tech problem. And this is where we look at it from a fraud, people and vendor perspective. Fraud is the #1 part that people are looking at. However, one of the things is about fraud, is that a tech problem? No, it isn't. It could be in the accounting side, it could be in HR, it could be in the people side of TFNs and what they hold, the vendors of what their cybersecurity posture is. But one of the things that people need to understand, it's just not coming back to the tech. And this is where we've been, like our team has been doing a lot of reviews of Microsoft Cloud, Google, third-party apps, DLP, ransomware. The definition of DLP, for example, is people think it's just backup. It's a lot more than that, about what links you're sharing, who has the link, does the link expire when they pass through documents. So what we've done is, and next slide, please. And we'll go more on the what does good cybersecurity look like? And this is really where the rubber hits the road. It must be simple, but it must be transparent. If I had to go through and ask a management team, like managing director or a CEO, COO, what reports are you getting, and can you tell me what you're seeing? Or do you get any sort of reports? This is what's starting to happen. It's the substantiation argument. Now, if I give an analogy of it, it's like, do you lodge your tax return with have no substantiation at all and hope the ATO doesn't ask you for an invoice? If you don't, you know that they're going to reverse that sort of transaction. It's the same as in cybersecurity terms. If you don't have a document or some sort of substantiation, you can easily cut and paste your green, red, orange box of you're meeting the cybersecurity requirements, because the regulator hasn't started asking the substantiation question. Can you tell me this? Can you tell me what's available in the thing? Now, one of the things, and we'll wind up soon, is getting this single pane of glass. This is the real part that you need to understand. Do you know what is the risks and the overviews and the documents that are actually reading from your browser, the applications, like the scope of the permissions, the external communications? So that's what we actually look at. and we're now spending 10% of the time only doing the assessment. 90% is on the actions, recommendations, and monitoring. Next slide. So we've put together some sort of information for people. If you want, I'll share the link in here, and hopefully it helps you avoid any incidents. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Graham. Really appreciate that. So I'm going to do a little bit of a wrap up for us all. And so I've summarised a little bit about what we just heard. So I'll summarise as follows. We heard from Daniella about the cultural impact of digitisation. Mark unpacked a little bit about the rise of regulatory requirements to supervise communications. Natalie spoke of preventing fraud without sacrificing privacy. Emma talked about compliance, capture, assurance, and risk and quality management. Rob outlined securing the digital and physical world for us. Com talked about customer data at scale, and we need to protect it. And then Graham finished us off with, well, how bad is it actually out there, and what does good cybersecurity actually look like? And I know that many of them have offered up some information and some tools that you should avail yourselves of, which is in the chat. And we will also send that all out in the thank you note tomorrow. Kind of in wrapping up, though, I did notice the most common word that was used almost in every presentation was this word about fraud. And I just wanted to finish on a note to say that we will have a much larger focus at the RegTech Association in 2025 around this word around fraud and scams. So watch this space. I started off the conversation today by talking about the research that we've just completed. Please do download the Industry Perspectives report. It is a global report. We partnered with Deloitte on it. And it takes really, really unique perspectives from regulators, from institutions, from consultants, and also from RegTech and supervisory tech vendors themselves. And then we smushed all that together to come up with some key insights. And we've also, because we have 5 years of data now, we've been able to do a really very cool benchmarking exercise where we've compared the data. So please do have a look at that. We are on the run-up, as many people are, to the end of this year. We would love to partner with you in 2025 to sponsor our many programs. We will be launching Accelerate RegTech Global in APAC next week, so please do watch your emails for that to come through. But we can't do it without support, so we would love to talk to you. Please do reach out to either Nathan or myself to discuss that. And also do watch for a RegTech for Better Government program that we're looking at launching early in 2025 as well. This might be the last time that I get to see you all online before the closeout of the year. We've only got a couple of weeks left. So I just wanted to thank you all very much for your support throughout this year and in the past, and we're looking forward to bringing you more of these great programs in 2025. And I'd also like to thank, and if you could join me in some clapping of hands, to thank Nathan, who works very hard behind the scenes, putting all of these programs together. And he very patiently sits behind the seats and moves all the slides, and probably has, some of the hectic tech problems that go on. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to Nathan and a big thank you to everyone today. And I wanted to apologise to Daniella. I have no idea why I couldn't see you and everybody else could, but one of the little mysteries of life. So I do apologise for interrupting you early. So love to see you again in 2025. Thanks so much for being here, and we will see you raring to go in the new year. Thank you very much, everyone.